Hey friend, welcome to another episode in the Revelation Project. We're going to tackle chapter 12. This is going to be in a few parts because there's so much material I can't pass up in sharing with you. This is a wonderful chapter. We're already post the revealing of the seven-sealed scroll and what all that meant and stuff, and now the text is written continuing in the third part of Revelation 1:19, where it says the outline, the divine outline of the book of Revelation, the things which things shall be shortly hereafter, write down the things you saw. Well, that third part, hereafter, so this is future tense for John. This isn't past tense. So from 90 AD, all this stuff is going to be going on in the future. And in chapter 12, we have this amazing, beautiful piece of intelligence. God, who lives outside of time-space, is able to clearly communicate much material in just a handful of verses. So this is a great treasure to be unpacked here. I'm going to read and then bring some commentary. Verse 1, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. Okay, so the sun, clothed with the sun. The moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Okay, so when she's wearing the sun, she's going to be in this wonder in heaven, up in the sun, moon, and stars. It's talking about sun and moon and stars. Up in the heavens, there's this great wonder that John beheld. Okay, so he's in heaven, but yet he's in multiple dimensional time-space stuff, so he's able to see things going on in heaven, yet from heaven, yet as if you're on earth looking up to heaven. As only in Visionscape can you do this kind of stuff. This is great. Prayer time is adventure time. And she being with child, travailed, being pained to be delivered. And then it says that, and there was another wonder in heaven. Verse 3 and 4 talks about, the great red dragon withdrawing a third of the stars, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. Verse 5, and she brought forth a man-child. Okay, so when she gave birth, she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all the nations with rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God in his throne, and the woman fled into the wilderness, and where she had a place prepared of God, she should there that they should feed her 1,260 days. All right, that's another 3.5 years. The man-child who will rule with rod of iron, you guessed it, that's Jesus. Okay, Jesus refers to himself as the Son of Man. This man-child refers to himself as the Son of Man 83 times in the Gospels. What is he doing? He's pointing back to Daniel chapter 7. He's saying, I'm fulfilling all of Daniel 7, the one in whom receives a kingdom that cannot be faded away nor destroyed. That will, he's saying he's that guy, the one who's going to rule. So this inference of Psalm 2 is here, rule with the rod of iron. He is the man-child who will rule. Okay, this is Jesus. This is the Messiah. And we also get this hintation that this woman is the woman Israel because of the language of the sun, moon, and stars. Jesus came from Israel. He is a line of the tribe of Judah. He is Messiah. Genesis chapter 37, verses 9 through 11, we see where Jacob, who now being named Israel, tells his sons, when Joseph gives the dream, the interpretation, in this kind of questioning way, like, well, are you saying that me and your mom and your brethren are going to bow down to you? Because in the dream, Joseph said that the sun, moon, and stars, the visible stars, they were able to bow down to Joseph, and he didn't know what it meant. And so Jacob, being Israel, interpreted the dream, and so we see that the people Israel are represented by the sun, moon, and stars in this night encounter of this dreamscape moment, this vision within a dream that Joseph had. And so Israel interprets the dream for us. And here we see, now remember, book of Revelation's written in code. How do you decode it? With the rest of your Bible, okay? So we know specifically this is speaking to Jesus, right? The sun, moon, and stars. Okay. Let's camp out on this. There appeared a great wonder in heaven. Not just a wonder, but a great wonder. This issue of the sun, moon, and stars in Israel. Okay. In chapter 13, we're going to talk about the beast and how he rises up. We just got done reading about how the beast destroys the two witnesses in Jerusalem. At some point, all the world's eyes will be fixated on Jerusalem and all this, right? We've got the sun, moon, and stars. Anytime the Bible says a great wonder or a great sign, we ought to dig a little deeper. And lo and behold, you and I, from the vantage point of history, there was this particular sign in the heavens, right, in the heavenly arenas. It was on September 23rd, 2017. I'm going to have some pictures up here for you. So if you look back what was going on in the sun, moon, and stars, ironically enough, okay, you ever heard of a Jewish person saying, Mazel Tov, it means, may the stars line up for you, may everything go good for you kind of thing, Mazel Tov, okay? During Rosh Hashanah in 2017, we had on September 23rd, okay, so the Feast of Trumpets is a two-day festival. On Rosh Hashanah, we had the alignment of the stars in the heavens. Remember, Father controls the sun, moon, and stars, not the devil, right? There's a big difference between astrology and astronomy, okay? There's nothing wrong with studying what God made. What we got to be careful is we don't look to creation for messages, but we do allow God to confirm through creation things about what he's doing, what he's saying, okay? Genesis 1:14, the sun, moon, and stars are there for a time, signs and seasons. So when there's a sign in the heavens, pay attention. Well, we see this alignment of the virgin, which a lot of your Mazzaroth teachings will teach that Virgo is indicative of the Virgin Mary. The line represents line of the tribe of Judah. Well, oddly enough, strangely enough, coincidental enough, on this particular festival in 2017, you had the alignment of stars, in which Virgo, the virgin, the woman, is clothed with the 12 stars, right? She's giving birth, right, in travail, right, this birth. You see Jupiter passing in the constellation Virgo through the womb area, and Jupiter is known as the king planet or the king star. Back in the day, they called visible planets that you could see with your eye stars. They're the wandering stars, the moving stars, if you will, okay? And so Jesus is represented. As a matter of fact, during the time of the birth of Jesus, you'll find that the planet Jupiter was passing through at the heart of Judah, and so this is where we feel like the East, the wise men of the East who kept track of a lot of the sun, moon, and stars and alignments and stuff, knew to go ahead and travel to Jerusalem because of the birth of the king. And so now these were fourth generations of teachings from Daniel, who understood the signs and the weeks and all that stuff, right? So that's a whole other rabbit trail that we could chase teaching, but we're not going to do that. So in this sign in the heavens, in September of 2017, what you've got here is a chance for us to point, wait, is this Revelation 12? What is this, right? And for a special treasure hunt, I'm not going to tell you what I think some of the significance is of 3.5 years later, but I'll encourage you do your own homework, look up September, right, 22nd and 23rd, 2017, and look what happens 3.5 years later and see what you find. Just interesting enough. So you have this. You can take Stellarium. These are pictures from Stellarium. It's an app you can get on your mobile devices or your desktop just to see where's the sun at today. What's going on in the heavenly arenas. The moon and the planets and what have you. Well, here we see that the moon is right at her feet, right? And then she's got above her head, the crown. She's crowned with 12 stars, right? She's clothed with the sun. And the man-child being delivered, we got Jupiter passing through her womb area. How amazing is that, right? Now this Jupiter passing through the womb area, would be indicative of the king planet, Jesus, and so we see even in the signs of the heavens, right? I believe this is, now this has only happened just a few times throughout human history and man's tracking of planetary alignments in the stars and stuff. This is not something that happens on a regular basis. And so anytime it does happen, it's a chance for God to give the wink, wink, nod, nod from something that was written thousands of years ago to mankind. Hey, check out what's about to happen. Look what's going to happen over the next 3.5 years. Pay attention to human history, right? So amazing stuff. One of the special things about what happened in this time frame, the Jewish calendar is different than our Gregorian calendar, and that particular weekend started the Jewish New Year, okay? The Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, is the New Year for the Jewish calendar. A couple months later, we're talking not years later, just a few months later, lo and behold, what happens for Israel? There's a unique shifting of emphasis in world affairs. A few months later, after this planetary alignment, we have the U.S. Embassy moving from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, thus indicating to the world that the wings of the eagle, right? America is declaring that Jerusalem is the capital. Friend, how amazing is this, right? My wife, she got me the Temple Institute coins, identifying this specific moment, in human history, like when all this was going on, right? And so you've got the Tel Aviv U.S. Embassy moving from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Friend, that's a major statement. I believe the wings of the eagle given to Israel for her protection is the same wings of the eagle mentioned in Daniel chapter 7. We're going to break that down in the next one. The U.S. is the number one ally that helps protect Israel during her time in the Middle East, friend. And we see that just a little bit later there in the same chapter. So how amazing is this, my friend? How amazing is this?